Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria, and today we are going to be doing a recommendation video for single parent romances. I have done this video before, but I think the last time I did it was in February. I can link that video down below if you haven't seen it. It has other single parent romances in it. But since it's been a while, and since this is one of my favorite tropes, I figured that I should do an updated version or another one with more single parent romances because I read a lot of them. Specifically, single dad is one of my favorite tropes ever, so I read a lot of them. I have 8 romances with single parents to recommend to you today for this video, and so we're gonna get into it and it's gonna be fun. So the first one that I have on the list is Last on the List by Amy Dawes. This is the last book in Amy Dawes' Wait With Me series. This series is not as a whole my favorite. I do like the Surprise Pregnancy Doctor one, and then I do like this one. This one is actually my favorite in the series. It is a single parent romance where the hero is the single dad in charge of taking care of his daughter for the summer, and he is a big CEO, and so he works a lot and he needs a nanny in order to help take care of his kid. And the heroine comes in. Her name is Cozy, I think, and she used to previously work at a big corporate job, and needs a really big change. Something traumatic happened to her and she needs a really big change. And so her sister owns a nanny company and is like, hey, why don't you try being a nanny? And so the heroine comes in, and the hero has a whole bunch of plans for his daughter for the summer. He wants her to do different classes and wants her to be busy and wants her to be educating herself during the summer and all this stuff, and wants her to be on top of it during the summer. And the kid is like, and so when Cozy comes in, the heroine, and is like, my plan for this summer is for you to do nothing. What's better than doing nothing? She's literally like, we need to take time and relax. We need to just lay and contemplate with our thoughts and not overwhelm ourselves and need to do nothing. And the hero is like, what the fuck? Absolutely not. But his daughter is like, you're hired. And so Cozy becomes the nanny, and the hero ends up falling for Cozy, and it's cute because also Cozy lives on his property for the nanny job. She gets a little house, a tiny house on his property as the nanny. And so they're in very close proximity with each other, which really helps with them falling for each other, because the hero is very much like, it is not appropriate for me to fall for my nanny or have a sexual relationship with my nanny, but he has a hard time keeping his hands off Cozy, and they end up falling for each other, and it's really good. I really loved it. And the daughter in this one, actually, I like when the kids, especially in a single parent romance, I like when the kids play a large role. They're like another character. They're not just like oh, I have a kid kind of character. They are a large part of the story. And the daughter in this one, she is old enough that she has her own personality, but not too old that she creates lots of drama, which I really like. I think that's a really good age range for a single parent romance. So I think it's really good, and I like that the friendship that Cozy ends up having with the kid, and so it's cute and would highly recommend it. The next one that I have is gonna be no surprise to anyone, is Juniper Hill by Devney Perry. This is going to be on my top favorite books of the year. It is absolutely one of probably the top 5 books that I've read this year. I absolutely adore this book. Devney Perry writes a ridiculous amount of single parent romances, so if you're ever looking for a single parent romance and you haven't read Devney Perry, would recommend. She has a lot of them. I could fill an entire video just with Devney Perry single parent romances. But Juniper Hill is one of my favorite Dabney Perry books, and it is about a heroine named Memphis who is a single parent to a infant. Her baby is like brand spanking new. She was an heiress in like a big city, and she ends up having to flee from her previous life in order to protect herself and her child. And she moves to the small town in Montana where she becomes a maid at the Eloise Inn in the town, and she also ends up living above the garage of a man named Knox. Knox is also the chef at the Eloise Inn, so they do constantly see each other at work, but he is a grumpy hero who likes his own space, and is not super happy about the fact that his sister basically bullied him into letting Memphis stay above his garage. And they end up falling for each other and having a very, very sweet romance. And I really liked the fact that Knox didn't want to be with Memphis at first, not because he doesn't like kids, but because he loves kids. And he was like, I'm gonna get too attached and I am going to be distraught to have to end a relationship with them and not be able to see the kid anymore. Like, that's one of the like main concerns of him starting a relationship, even just like a sexual relationship with the heroine and not a romantic relationship. He's like, I'm gonna get attached to this kid and that's gonna hurt when she leaves. The kid is like an infant and he doesn't sleep through the night and he screams and cries at night, and Knox can hear it through the window and hear it, and he he finally like can't handle it anymore, and he comes over in the middle of the night and is like, let me hold the kid. And he basically like rocks him to sleep, and he, without even realizing it, he's just like at his wit's end, so he's like, maybe I can hold it and it'll help. But without realizing it, he also really helps Memphis because she is like, she needs a moment. When you are a single mother like that, she doesn't have the opportunity to just like take a minute to herself to try and like make herself more sane, and just like the constant requirement of her where she doesn't have a partner, she doesn't have anyone to help her, it's just all on her, and it's so overwhelming for her, and she's like, I need help. But nobody is there to help her. And so when Knox comes over and takes the kid, she's like, oh my God, I can sit down. And Knox realizes this and is like, wow. And he starts coming over more often to help get the baby to sleep and also to just give Memphis a minute. And it's really sweet. This book is especially, it's not the grand gestures in this book, it's the little moments that make it so, so beautiful and romantic and just such a good love story. The next one that I have is Rewriting the Stars by Claire Kingsley. This is the final book in the Bailey Brothers series. It's book 6. I would actually recommend reading the other ones because you do get more of a background on the whole rival family situation, because this is a rival families romance, but they do a good job of explaining it in just this book. If you're like me and you're just like, I want to read that one, then you could. I'm not somebody who is going to gatekeep and say like, you have to read the rest of the books. I would recommend it, but if you don't want to, go for whichever one you want. So this is, like I said, the last book in the Bailey Brothers series, and this is a rival family small town romance, and the heroine is a single mother. So in this small town that they live in, it's called Tillicum, there is this very, very long, generations-long feud that has been going on between the Bailey family and the Haven family. And in this small town, it is like a serious feud. It's like to the point of, in this very small town, they have 2 bars, they have 2 hairdressers, they have 2 grocery stores, because you pick a side. And if you're on the Bailey side, you go to the Bailey places, and if you're on the Haven side, you go to the Haven places. There's no crossover, there's no nothing. And so when Levi Bailey is in love with Annika Haven, it's not allowed. It's not allowed. I really liked the relationship that developed in this romance because you find out that Annika and Levi have been messaging each other for years, like since high school, and they don't actually like attempt to become romantically involved until they're like much older. And it's really sweet because they do have that foundation where they know each other really well without having spent any time together in person. And I think that that's really nice, that you have that foundation, so that when they do end up spending time together and getting to like see each other in person, they have that foundation and their that they can fight against their families with, where they're like, no, this is not just some out of the blue thing that we want to try and date each other. This is a over years relationship that we've built, which I think is awesome. The hero Levi literally like worships the ground that Annika walks on. If you love a hero like that, where he's just like so into the heroine, would highly recommend this book, because Levi's love for Annika, his devotion to Annika, is fantastic. Would highly recommend. But Annika is a single mother, and so her son does play a part in this also. He almost to the point where he like helps get them together without realizing it, because the first time that they're able to actually like see each other in person or spend time together in person is when her son goes missing in a store and Levi finds him, and then he has a reason to like talk to her, and so it's very cute. Would highly recommend it. The battle that they fight against their families as a united front is just, it's so good. The next one that I have is Falling Embers by Catherine Cowles. This one is a single dad romance, and he has twin girls. The heroine is his best friend's sister and is also his friend. They have been friends for a very long time. He is very, very close with their family, and the heroine was basically like in love with him, and he did some things that made the heroine really upset. And so it's sort of has that like friends to enemies to lovers vibe, where she's so mad at him for like the things that he did, or the way that he made her feel. And when they do get together, he has to really like apologize for that. And they do have to like work together to find a middle ground, because the heroine is like an adrenaline junkie and she is an extreme sports person. She like is extreme, anything that's like extreme adrenaline, she's like all in for. But the hero used to be really into it, and then he had kids, and now is like, oh my god, this is so dangerous. And he's like trying to get the heroine to stop, and she's like, absolutely not. This is who I am. This is what I need to do to stay sane. And the hero just like can't handle it. He's like, this is dangerous. You could get hurt. And he's like, I would never want my daughters to do this and all this stuff. And the heroine's like, you're not my dad. And this is who I am. So if you want me, then you need to take all of me. And I think that they come to a really nice compromise and to a really good place where they're both comfortable and able to be themselves while also being with each other. Next one that I have is A Little Too Close by Rebecca Yarros. This one is part of the Madigan Mountain series. It is book 2. You can read them out of order. So the hero in this one is a former military helicopter pilot, and he leaves the military and goes back to returns to his family's home, where he does not have a good relationship with his family, and he forms a business where he flies people in helicopters to the top of ski mountains so that they can ski or snowboard down them. And the heroine is a worker at the ski resort, and they end up actually having to like basically be roommates. So the heroine, they have like a a shared communal space in their house because all of the employee housing is like full, and so they end up having to share, and they end up in very close proximity, and they end up falling in love. And the heroine is a single mother. She has a teenager, and the teenager, like I was saying at the beginning of the video, the teenager like is like a full like participating character, and she participates very much in the forming of the relationship between her mom and the hero. And I think it's really, really sweet, and I love that the friendship that they make, the hero and the kid, but also he's very respectful, the hero, of not stepping on the heroine's toes when it comes to her parenting, because they do live together, and he's like, okay, this is what I want to do in my house. But the heroine's like, well, I also don't want you to like parent or to be going against my rules that I set for my kid. And the hero's like, absolutely not, I would never. So I think it's really sweet the way he does that. And their relationship is really cute. Next one is Hero by Lauren Rowe. This one is the first book in the Morgan Brothers series by Lauren Rowe. This one is about a hero who is a firefighter, and he gets injured, and the heroine is his physical therapist, and they this is sort of insta-love. If you like insta-love, you'll like this. But I don't love insta-love, but Lauren Rowe does it really well, where it's very much like, I saw her and I need to know everything about her. I need to find out more about her. He's very immediately attracted to each other, but they have very good chemistry, and she builds the relationship in a very nice and believable way, especially in Hero, because the heroine is very focused on the fact that like she's his physical therapist. It is against policy for them to have a relationship. Like, she is not going to lose her job. She doesn't want to break the rules, and so she waits very much until he's not her patient anymore, basically. But once she's not his physical therapist anymore, the hero like goes at her like full force. But the heroine has 3 children, I believe, and her husband was a police officer, and he died. So she is also apprehensive about the fact that the hero is a firefighter and doesn't really want to get involved with somebody who's a first responder again, that has the more potential to have a very dangerous job. So that's something that like puts the struggle with their relationship also. But the romance is very sweet, and I really love the Morgan Brothers series. Okay, the last one that I have that I'm going to recommend is The Bluff by Willa Nash, aka Devney Perry. I know I put another Devney Perry book on this one, but this one is under her Willa Nash name, so I feel like it's okay. This one is The Bluff, and it is part of her Calamity Montana series, and this one is, I believe, book 2 in the series. And in this one, the hero's name is Reese, and he is he was in prison for a while. He is an ex-con, and while he was in prison, his, I think, ex-wife or ex-girlfriend gave birth to their daughter, and he didn't even know that he had a daughter until he got out of prison. Like, his ex-wife sucks. She sucks. And she makes it very much so that he cannot see his daughter. And his daughter is a teenager now, and he hates the fact that his daughter is living with her mom and her stepdad, because he's pretty positive that the stepdad is abusive, but he has a very hard time getting custody because he's a single man and he's an ex-con. And so when the heroine of the book, Everly, is having a one-night stand with the hero and overhears the fact that him being married could help him with his custody battle, she's like, hey, I'll marry you. And so they have a marriage of convenience in order to help his custody battle to gain custody of his teenage daughter. And it's great. It's really good, and would highly recommend it. It's very fun, and it's emotional also, because it shows the very broken system, or like unfortunate system that exists for single parents, especially because on paper it looks like the mother should be the more better parent, for lack of a better word, but she's not. And the single dad, ex-con, is a much better and safer parent for this girl to have than the married couple with no background. Her stepdad is like a high-ranking member of the town, but he's also abusive. It's just like really, it's really heart-wrenching, honestly, to see the way that the daughter struggles, because like she doesn't get a choice, like she doesn't get a say, even though it's her life that's being decided here. So it's really unfortunate in that sense, but the hero and the heroine's relationship is so good. I love marriages of convenience because they're so awkward, but also so good. They're so weird at first because they don't know how to, they're like living together all of a sudden, and they're like, we have to pretend that we're like in love because they can't let the courts know that they're like fake, that they're married for like not love, or that they did this for like to benefit them. So it's really good and I would very much recommend it. That is the last one that I have to share with you. I don't want this video to get overly long, but that's it. So I hope that you find one that you like. Please let me know down in the comments what your favorite single parent romance is. But other than that, please like this video if you liked it, subscribe so you can see more content from me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.